Wells only and his guests are not responsible for any losses you may accrue from having weekends. Where the haters at? Y'all bitches still ain't showed up. And now, right, we got HEX, flawless uptime. People thought this was a joke. Now they're mad at the chart. This is Wales only. Glad you guys can make it out. I'm making some claims that are pretty outlandish, but I can back them up. Boom. End of story. There is no other crypto out there, so don't get it twisted. If you don't understand where you're parking your money, you're gonna pay the consequences for that, and that's just how the cookie crumbles. Boom. Right? The reality is that I want to be rich as fuck. There's only one way to be rich as fuck. That's by sitting on your ass the longest.
Yep.
That's it.
Yep.
That's the secret. The guy well told you. Richard done told you. I done told you. Kareem done told you. Maddie done told you. Everybody done told you. Everybody done told you. These motherfuckers still acting like they don't know. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
100% safe. There's plenty of games left.
Valiant done told you. Yo, everybody said it. Man, hey, you know what it is, man? Everybody done told you. Y'all's deep. Everybody. My God. Ex-Asians, bro. Everybody. Australians, man. Everybody gets me. Yo, when is it told you? Dollar told you. Everybody done told you. It's crazy. Salutations, humans. It's been a hell of a week. It's been a hell of a bear market. But tell you what it hasn't been is different than before. Something to keep in mind. Because this is why that song exists. None of the things that are in your best interest are going to be widely promoted. Ever. This is why counterculture is deemed tinfoil city. But seems like those that understand the underpinning logic of not doing what the masses are doing are the ones that constantly find success and don't find landmines. Isn't that kind of funny? Because the world would have you believe entirely different. Team win on TV is not team win in real life. Basically, is what I'm saying. And all of these exchanges collapsing on each other because, like I told you guys a long time ago, with the first batch, it's not the end, right? The most recent one, it's not going to be the last one either. Just a fact of life. So with all of the streams that I've done since 2021 January through today, my message has been consistently the same. Those are the kinds of things you can bank your money on. What information are you receiving? What's the consistency of that information? What is the quality of that information? Because as I've been saying for a very long time, folks, it is an information war. And all these centralized exchanges collapsing on themselves just proves that. You had many Hexicans talking that shit as well. So don't be fooled by any of these fuckboys out there pretending that they were towing the line when they were in fact not. There's certain things you got to understand about why things go the way they go. A lot of people were pissed and talking shit about Hex not being on a centralized exchange for a very long time. That debate was had on Twitter and Telegram and the voice chats all over the fucking place. Nothing else needs to be said now. So the next time you hear some schmuck talking that shit, you be sure to put your foot in their throat. So those stupid ass words no longer come out of their mouth. It's plain and simple. If you don't understand the big picture, shut the front door and don't come in, because you don't know what you're about to walk into. And a lot of people have this habit of just running their mouths and giving opinions. You know, I don't stream to give my opinion. I stream to give you guys invaluable information that's verifiably fucking true. I don't stream for popularity. I don't give a flying fuck if you like me. On a side note, thank you for all the positive comments on the streams. Do appreciate those. But again, fact of the matter is I don't stream for your kindness. I don't need it. I stream for you to progress. I stream for you to take the information that's in my head and do what you need to do with it, because I can't tell you what's best for your life. Nobody can. So be sure not to click on that referral link, because I ain't fucking got one. Now, what I do have is information that's going to change your life if you're willing to put in the work that benefits you. Because in the real world, you get what you give. There is no free lunch. And all the people that like to side with that notion of a free lunch are all the ones that promote Rona, don't do their due diligence, promote centralized exchanges, don't do their due diligence, lie to you, act the victim, don't do their due diligence, look foolish, call other scammers when they are the ones, in fact, that are scamming. The entire fake crypto industry, which is what we've been watching collapse on itself, is what I've been railing against since day one. So anybody that's negated anything I've ever said, you know who they are and you know where they stand now clearly. Told you guys for a long fucking time, you don't speculate in crypto, because crypto is not for fucking speculation. There's a reason speculation exists. I've explained that. Let me reiterate. Let me say again. First lesson in finance is $1 today is not worth $1 tomorrow. That is called the time value of money. This is why investment regimes exist. This is why capital markets exist. This is why loans exist. This is why all these funny things that don't make mathematical sense exist and persist. So until we humans, us, those of us that are engaging in these markets, which is everybody, whether they like to think so or not, everybody impacts the market. And when I say the market, I'm speaking holistically, because we like to segregate crypto and legacy. But fact of the matter is that the underlying valuation mechanism for both is the same. And that being the unit of account that we view it in. Right? You guys heard Richard Hart yesterday on his Twitter Spaces. He made it pretty clear. He prefers mag gains to the ability to transact in crypto outright. Now, we've heard this line of thinking before. It's not anything new if you've heard him talk. But you got to hear the logic right? The logic underpinning that is what makes sense because of the reality that we live in. What if we did have a world where you could transact in crypto, and once you did the transaction, there was no way to verify a transaction prior to, right? So this is what he's saying in regards to needing middlemen to facilitate a transaction, right? There's a difference. There's a difference in facilitation and determination. And this is what I think people don't comprehend when it comes to middlemen. Because that isn't sucking middleman D. That's somebody playing referee, which you always do need. Because why do corporative entities or legal entities even exist in the first place? Because society has duplicitous characters in it. That's ultimately why. Otherwise, you wouldn't have any corporations of any type. Now, that's just one aspect, right? The other aspect is that it allows those that are able to use those entities for their ill will to hide behind those entities, right? Now, one thing that you might not know that you should know is that just because somebody does some illegal activity behind or under the guise or the veil of a corporate entity doesn't mean they get away with it. That in fact is the opposite. Because if you're breaking some corporate law, fiduciary rule, whatever have you, in that corporate capacity, well, guess what? You literally went outside your contract. You breached contract, so you're screwed. So, with all that being said, it's important that we look forward to see what the end result is going to be of all of these recent exchange collapses. Because what do we always see when there's financial mishaps in America? Nothing except bailouts. Those that fucked it up get to fuck it up again some more. And on top of that, they get bonuses for doing it. Now, this is coming from a guy that works on Wall Street. Now, you have to understand that just because I work there doesn't mean I don't understand what's going on there. This is exactly why I do the streams that I do, because you're getting an inside view, an inside mind, an inside understanding as to who, what, when, where, and why. You're not going to get that from some stupid ass influencer that gets paid to show you shit. Like, I don't even understand how that's not comprehensible to most of you. So, some people just can't be helped. And this is again why I say you have to be mindful of those sharing their opinion versus those sharing information that's going to either be beneficial to you or not. That is critical, my friends, because you shouldn't be on YouTube searching for pats on the back, because that is not going to pay the bills. Period. And thank you for the super chat, Hex Monkey. I appreciate you, brother. And I'm reading the comments in the chat as you guys are typing them. I'm not ignoring them. I just got a lot of things I haven't streamed in a while. I gotta say it out loud. Most of us have been saying all along that it's a feature, not a bug, that Hex is not on centralized exchanges, and here we are. Even the haters are starting to get it. Yeah, and you know what? I think it was, I don't really know who these people are. I think it's bankless people, but some guys were freaking crying on stream. Two grown ass men. All right, maybe one of them was only crying, but the other guy was sitting there saying nothing. I would have told that dude to stop and get the hell off the screen. Like, what? He's crying, and then the dude was crying because Richard wasn't the actual scammer, I think. Like, I really don't know why he was crying, but the dude was legit crying and, upset. I mean, look, man. You know, you guys got to understand what this world is in 2022. You know, and if you didn't watch the last stream I did, which was with Kyler, I hit on it very directly. You know, we live in a world where you determine your outcome. There's no excuses anymore. If your life sucks, it's because you want it to suck. If you don't know something, it's because you don't want to know it. No, that's really just it. I mean, there's nothing else to tell you. You know, the end of this stream could be right here. I could literally end the stream right now. There's really not much else to say. How many times are we going to repeat the same thing? How many hours of live streams do I have saying, explaining the same things over and over? There comes a time when you got to stop watching motherfuckers talking and you got to start putting in some work. Like, you know, I appreciate the views, but understand what I'm telling you. You know, you guys should not be looking forward to a stream unless you're going to extract something that you can apply from it. This isn't school. This is not to be wasting your time. You know, when I was saying that the bear market is an opportunity market, it was so you motherfuckers could get out there, hustle up some cash, and be buying this fucking dip at 3 cents. Because guess what? At the end of the day, the decision with regards to how your life turns out is yours. Because a million people will tell you to do a million things. And, you know, we were kids. Our lives are what they are because of the decisions we made by ignoring or not the counsel we received as we was growing up. I ignored all the counsel I ever got. I'm not ashamed to say it. That's exactly why I have no qualms in calling you a dumb fuck if you are one. Because you know what? I was one too. So boo motherfucking who? Who are you? You ain't special. Just like nobody else is. And if you were, then why the fuck you watching this stream any damn way? You must not really be that special in the first place. And that's the whole point. You got to get to a point where you stop lying to yourself and you start making the right choices. How much more pain do you honestly need before you decide to learn something? You know, and that's an answer to a question that I didn't realize the universe was asking me every time I ran into a brick wall. And the thing about life is that we're all going to have these obstacles, right? And to us, you know, some obstacles are going to be easier to conquer than others. But at the end of the day, well, fuck, we're going to have those obstacles. And there's nothing that we can do about it. So this is why it's so important to have an open mind. You know, I know a lot about what I know. I don't know a lot about everything. And I think that this is the mentality people need to have in order to find any kind of fucking success. I know why I'm not a wealthy individual yet. I know what I'm doing wrong. I know what I've done wrong. So I know I'm a hop, skip, and a jump away from achieving my goals to determine my success. But what about you? Where do you stand? Are you doing a self-assessment? Are you understanding what's happening in the fake crypto world right now? Do you comprehend why Hexicans are fucking chilling so hard that we don't even care about what you think, say, do, or have to say? Because it doesn't matter. Because we're Team Win. We set the standard. Even if all the minions don't want to join, that's their problem because they don't represent the cream of the crop. That is Team Win or Hexaco. And in case you don't know, that shit starts here, not anywhere else. Education underlies the foundation of every element that of everything that we have going over here. If the foundation is flawed, all you have is that fake crypto nonsense going on over there. And I am no way, shape, or form tied to none of that crap. So that ain't got nothing to do with me. That ain't crypto. And people that think that that is don't actually know what crypto is. This is a time for you to assess who the real players are and who the fake people are in this space. This is your time and opportunity. You've had nothing but a whole year for that shit. And you guys have either been doing it or you have not. Because again, there comes a point in time where you have to stop watching and listening to others and start taking that information that you've been receiving and putting it into work yourself. That's what this is about. This isn't about views. This isn't about clicks. Sure, we want to pump our bags and all that. Sure. But there's no better marketing than in your fucking face marketing. There's no better marketing than that. If you think a bunch of people see a bunch of people flexing, and I mean some real shit, not no bullshit, but real shit. You don't think they're going to question their existence on the spot? Yes, they're going to. Surely they will. And just because I see this stupid ass comment, look, if you don't understand crypto and you're worried about whatever regulators are doing, then you just leave my stream. You never fucking learn anything anyway. So just fucking go away. Because it's just the height of stupidity to concern yourself with shit that's irrelevant. Please learn something or get left behind. I'm not here to appease and make anybody feel any type of way. Fucking learn what's going on. Fucking learn. Because if you're gonna let some third party motherfucker that has no right to tell you what to do with your hard-earned income, then you deserve what's coming. Period. Pretty simple. I'm not here to alleviate or appease any of your concerns. I'm here to tell your ass you need to learn how to fucking read. Pretty simple. So these are things you guys got to understand. Now let's take a look at the lottery winners list. And you guys are gonna kick out. You guys are gonna get a kick out of this because I sure as hell got a kick out of it. Let's see. I think this is 2. Yep. All right. Now, this is what winners list I like to call it. Now, these are private equity investments pulled from FactSet, which is a data service provider for Wall Street, for legacy finance, basically. And what you're seeing here are the people that are invested in FTX on a PE basis, private equity basis. And the investment series or type, whatever they want to call it, the funding round investment, the date, right, of when those series occurred is over here. The amount of the raises are over here, and whether you can exit or not. And apparently they're all active, which is interesting because everybody just got hosed. So when you read this, you got to realize these are what people would consider cream of the crop investors, right? Like when you hear like some of these names in the news, like, these are supposed to be respectable individuals that know what they're doing. These are, in short, the experts. Okay. Now, this is why everything I said for the first 24 or so minutes was so critical, because you need to understand there is nobody that's going to save you if you're not willing to save yourself, because there is no such thing as an expert. There is only you and what you're willing to learn from life and apply to reality, so that you don't get sucked up in bullshit. I mean, you're out here worrying about people telling you what to do when they can't, when they're slowly losing any and all resources that they have disposable with each and every passing day. And I told you guys from day one, FTX fucking fraud. I told you guys. I done told you. Now, one thing you guys got to understand is that no entity, and I've explained this before, but you guys seem to not believe me. Maybe you will now that all this crap is happening. No business, no entity, especially a major one, major corporation, operates fully collateralized. Period. Small businesses got no fucking choice. They have to, more than likely. And if they are not fully collateralized, then you're best to believe that their accounts receivable or accounts payables are underlying a transaction. So it's not some rehypothecated fucking thin fake out, just out of thin air shit. Like it's underlying a transaction. It's backed by a commodity, it's backed by a good or service. Okay. And this is critical to understand, because what makes currency currency and what makes money money? Well, currency is just whatever you think is money. It's not necessarily money. Money is that thing that replaces the value of that good or service that was received. Period. End of discussion. That's literally money. So if it's not doing that, you just got an IOU. And I've explained this a billion times, but this is what's happening. And I'll explain it in a billion and one more, because that's the problem. When you go to the store and you use a fiat unit of account, you just stole something. Period. That's what's happening. You're stealing shit. Every time you're using fiat, and we're all stealing from each other. Insight, Lightspeed, Temasek. This is just an institutional investor. Institutional. I don't know who these people are. Tiger Global. Everybody might or might not know them, but they're huge. And by huge, I mean everybody knows them, because the history and lineage going back to the name Tiger goes to the goes back to the 80s. So, everybody's watching these guys bleeding money like there's no tomorrow. And, this is part of the cycle. So what happens is that people just talk shit like they've been talking shit about Hex. But, if these guys don't exit their good investments, which is clearly subjective, they'll be all right, But again, good is subjective. The market will determine what's good. Unfortunately, they will not be able to determine that. And this is the thing about investing, that, while I might not be wealthy, I know what the fuck I'm talking about. Market doesn't give a shit who's in the trade. And I've been telling you guys that also from day one. With all your worrying about what the fuck is happening on the blockchain, well, I'm here to tell you once again, that shit doesn't fucking matter. Because look, this shit right here, This shit right here, all this, and look, Binance is on the docket as well, just in case you think CZ ain't getting smoked too, because he out here talking that good talk. But he's a scammer. He's a fucking thief. He's a criminal, just like the rest of these fools. Because if you understand what crypto is, then you know full and well no company or institution is required. What you need are facilitators of transactions. You don't need a major global exchange with global brand ambassadors and all this fake shit. You don't need none of that. Period. And guess what? The chain is still working with all of these failing organizations. Isn't that funny? Ha 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 ha. It's hilarious to me because this just further confirms what I've been saying, what Rich has been saying, what anybody with a brain has been saying that understands cryptocurrency. Period. And for those that are curious, it's a cone joint. King size, of course. So all right, let's read through some of these names. Tiger Global. If you don't know who they are, just Google them. Look into Tiger. Just Google YouTube Tiger Global. I mean, you're not gonna not find nothing. I don't want to waste people's time looking into Tiger Global Management, but look into them. They're not new. Look into them. They're major players. Institutional venture capital partner. Blah blah blah. Lux Capital Group. Familiar, not important enough. Pension fund. Now, what you're not gonna know, and what you're not gonna see, outside of the named pension funds, is the simple fact that all of those all those entities, those pension funds, those retirement funds, those retirement accounts, whether they be a defined benefit plan in the form of a pension fund or a defined contribution plan in the form of a 401k, 403b, whatever have you, those funds, they invest in these things also. They allocate capital to these things. More pension funds than 401ks and funds of that nature, because these investments are more esoteric, right? And those funds are meant for you to pick tickers only, the defined contributions. So way less them, way more pension funds. And what's sad about that is that a pension fund, again, it's a defined benefit. So it's something you're supposed to be receiving for paying into, right? But the math, and I worked in that side of the business also for about 3.5 years. The math on that side of the business is predicated on interest rates. All of it. Well, I mean, really everything is in finance, but it's neither here nor there. Well, I mean, it's actually everything. But in order to get into that and explain that, well, to put it in short, the interest rate, it's like the thermometer for the value of whatever, right? Whatever that thing is, unfortunately, because it's not really just the money. The currency is just a measuring mechanism. The value of things, regardless of the value of the currency underlying it, fluctuate, right? They don't stop going up or down. They go up or down regardless of whatever the value of the currency is. And for a lot of Americans or people that have only lived in a country with one, have only experienced one currency in their lifetime, this is hard to wrap your head around. I understand. But think about it like this: it's like a seesaw. It's like a scale, right? Like the scales of justice, right? If you want to think of it like that. Um, the the economy is really a balance of, it's a pendulum swing. One moment, one economy is doing better than the other. Another moment, vice versa. That's literally all it is. There's no more, no less to economics. Economics, right? Because you can't quantify that, right? You can't quantify when China's gonna need billions of pounds of rice. Like you don't, you can't quantify that. You can't forecast that. You could generally forecast it, but you're going to be wrong. So it doesn't actually matter. So, based on that simple understanding, it's very critical that we realize that economics is not math. It can never be mathematics. And they try to present it in that fashion, and it's very misleading. It just takes people down the wrong path of understanding. And it's fugazi, right? I mean, this is where I started because I actually had full intention of becoming a PhD economist. So I know the subject matter full well. This is how I knew and realized it was a waste of time to go down that route because you don't play a game unless you know all the rules to the game. And unfortunately, this is what we all do when it comes to trading or allocating money to the markets, right? We all think we know what we're doing, yet when people are out here telling you what to do or how to look at things or how to at least take things into consideration, 9 out of 10 times we're not doing that. And I know because I didn't do it too. So, it's a matter of fact. It's not a matter of opinion. This is how humans typically operate. And it's a probabilistic comment. This isn't to say that every human operates that way. But in general, we're not going to listen to people that know better. Richard Hart's a great example. Community of Hexago is a great example. You got plenty of people out here chasing shit coins, pretending to be hexagons. No, you're not a hexagon. You call yourself that all you want, but we know. We watch you. We don't talk to you. We stay far away from you. You're not a hexagon, bro. You can call yourself whatever you want, though. Free world, or what do they say, free country, right? So these are things you guys gotta, you gotta look at people's conduct. Never mind what they say. Watch what they do. Right? This is exactly why major investors got smoked. BlackRock. Well, I mean, BlackRock getting their money back. Sequoia Capital probably getting their money back. Oh man, Teachers Ventures Growth. That sucks. Alan Howard. That sucks for him because he doesn't know shit about crypto. Should have spoke to somebody that knew something. This guy is a very well respected rates trader. He's had a hedge fund for a long time. I mean, they're probably on here somewhere. Maybe not. Nope, don't see him. But even the good ones don't know it 100% of the time, right? And this is the point. This is a person I admire because I know the skill that they possess in the other game. But this game, this side hustle, this side game over here, this is not their arena. This is why all these people failed. Period. They don't know Coinbase, Hudson River Trading, Izzy Englander. This guy goes back to the 80s. I got trained by one of his fucking traders when I first came in the game. And even he got smoked. And this guy's a fucking billionaire. So, Paul Tudor Jones, if you don't know who he is, look him up. Another baller. Smoked. Senator Investment Group. Need I say more? I think you're well aware these guys are probably going to get their money back. Sino Global, if you don't know who they are, look them up. I mean, these are all major players. Third Point, huge. Also, Tama Bravo, huge. Van Eck. These clowns are the ones always trying to push for the Bitcoin ETF. Smoked. Willoughby, smoked. I guess this is the pair. They both smoked. Binance, smoked. I don't know FBG. Galore Capital. Oh yeah, that's that guy that thinks he understands what staking is. Smoked. I don't really know these other ones, but whatever. Point is, barbecue, motherfucking city. And the whole crux of this is not to gloat. It's to highlight the critical the critical point that you need to do your due diligence at all times. You don't need to be listening to anybody because anybody can make a bad investment. There is nobody for you to listen to. There is nobody for you to take guidance from. What there is persons to help you understand what you might not understand a little bit better. That's all there is. I mean, this FTX situation is going to go down in history. I mean, we're talking 30 billion. You think Luna was something? The fact that politicians are tied to this shit, it's not going anywhere. We're going to be hearing about this crap for a long ass time. Partially true. Partially true. We can see who's consistent and who's not. But these are things you guys got to understand. I already know them. Don't matter that I know it. It's not going to do you any good that I know what I know at the end of the day. What's going to do you good is taking the information that I provide and synthesizing it for yourself to comprehend. Things you got to realize, because that's how it works. Whether you want to realize it or not relevant, but you might want to take stock in the fact that the only person that benefits from not taking stock is you, or that doesn't benefit from not taking stock is you. Because all these folks that you see here on this list thought they knew what they were doing, and they quickly discovered that they do not. And I'll tell you what, this is only one of the many bankruptcies we've seen so far during this bear market. All of these entities are exposed, all of them. All of them. Period. This guy, I know for a fact, is involved in all kind of fucking... Hold on, guys. Give them a second. Yeah, I think they're done. This guy specifically is involved in all types of crypto stuff. I mean, Binance, need I say more? Van Eck, you guys should know very well by now. Let's see who else. Coinbase Ventures, you guys should know. And these are all these private entity or private equity investments are going to be classified as quote unquote Web3, right? And Web3 is just code for fake crypto, for those of you that don't know. So that's pretty much the crux of all this BS that's going on. I mean, if it's not crypto, then it's, you're getting your money taken. There's really no other way to put it. It's really that cut and dry, and that isn't going to change because the date has. This is the same thing that we've been talking about forever. Forever. Today in 2022, all the things I was saying in 2021, everybody's saying them now. Everybody. And it's cool. Good for you guys. But, that's irrelevant, because your objective should be to be a year ahead, to understand what's happening before it happens. That's how you're positioned for success beforehand. You want to buy a hex at 5, half a cent, not 50 cents. Period. This is why always being in the know, so to speak, it counts. And it counts a lot. Because if you don't know, that means somebody else is telling you. And if somebody else is telling you, that means you don't know. And if you don't know, you end up on this list. Pretty simple. Because that's what it's about. Now, I caution anybody I caution everybody to not think like this. There is no fortune or luck here, excuse me. Luck is a function of the work that's put in beforehand. Whoever had money in them exchanges didn't do the work beforehand. That's why they lost their shit. Because everybody over here has been saying, get your money off exchanges. Period. Everybody over here, well, not everybody. Most of us over here have been saying, we don't want hex on exchanges. We don't need it. Period. So no, not lucky. The luck comes from actually doing the latter, right? That listening part. That listening part is really, I like to think of it as a third situation, right? You got a big pie and you got to do three parts, right? First piece is seeking the information. Everybody isn't seeking the information, right? And this is why you got people that don't know, not your keys, not your crypto. You got people that don't know, they got to keep searching, you know? Our age could have been anybody. He didn't have to tell you anything except for buy Hex. Hex is good. Da 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 da. Your saving grace is that Bitcoin white paper that tells you in the first line what crypto is. That is your saving grace. Not really RH. And this is one of the biggest fallacies in Hexico. You need to understand the shit. First and foremost, everybody else is just a conduit. That white paper is where it all starts. Where you think RH got it from? He didn't make it up. He didn't pull it out of his ass. He got it from that fucking white paper. And I mean, never mind the fact that it's obvious that this is why crypto was invented. What the fuck? So it kills me, and I die from laughter every time I hear people say crypto can't be political. Isn't that? Let's not get political about crypto. Yo, crypto is political. End of story. If you don't like it, sell your shit and go fucking deal with stocks and bonds and all this other shit. And then go pretend over there is not political. Pretend is the key word. Because there's a reason geopolitics matters. And the operative word there is politics. So we could pretend that politics don't matter all we want. At the end of the day, if you don't understand why you're doing what you're doing, doesn't matter what you're doing. Because there's plenty of people bought Bitcoin 2009, 10, 11 and fully regret selling it today. And I guarantee you that if you run into any of those folks, they'll flat out tell you they regret selling a single Bitcoin because they be billionaires or whatever by now. Basic, man. All because they didn't want to delay gratification. And, fact of the matter is that that's just common. Already happened to me. Everybody isn't RH. Everybody wasn't retired when they found Bitcoin and were able to take the time to understand what was going on at that time. This is why we follow and take guidance from RH on so many fronts with respect to crypto. But at the end of the day, if you don't know why crypto, doesn't matter what RH says, because you are going to fuck it up. He can't stop you from fucking it up. I can't stop you from fucking it up. Nobody can stop you from fucking it up. Only you can stop you from fucking it up. Right? I mean, you guys really got to learn the biggest thing about what we're doing here is that we're playing a mental game. How long can you hold on? How strong is your grip? Are those diamond hands really diamond hands? A lot of people claim to have them. A lot of us believed them until we saw the hex top, right? Then we knew for sure. Well, we didn't know then, but we eventually figured it out that people be lying. They don't be staked, right? I mean, this isn't a stock market, folks. This is a change your life market. And it's only able to change your life if you understand why that's even possible in a short span of time. Because if you don't understand why it's possible, then you're going to just buy and sell something out very quickly and you're not going to understand what you just did. How many people would hold on to a position for 2 years? I mean, you guys got to seriously, think about that and answer that. I mean, that's the crux of everything, right? I'm going to pose a question in the chat. And I really would like for you guys to take a second, take, at least 30 seconds to think about the answer. That 10,000x didn't happen in 1 year. That 10,000x didn't happen in a week, in 2 months, in a half a year, 18 months. That 10,000x took almost 2 full years to materialize. Would you have held on for that period of time if it was just a liquid coin? I mean, that's something you got to think about. If staking wasn't optional, right? So don't cheat. I see you up in there cheating in the chat. Right? Like, these are the things you got to ask yourself. Why is it that Hex is the bomb? Why is Hex the best? Besides the fact that it works 100% of the time. I mean, I'm really asking people that are familiar with markets, right? Because if you're new to crypto and you've never dealt with other markets, you're not going to grasp the significance of this question. You can't really fathom. I mean, it's profound, the impact that mechanism has, right? And you got to be honest with yourself, because at the end of the day, it's your pocket, your money. You either want billions, millions, or nothing. And that's the way I look at it. That's literally how I look at crypto. That's why, to me, staking for 15 years was a no-brainer. It was well worth the risk. If Bitcoin can be around for 14 years, why the hell can't Hex be around for 15 when it's better? I just don't understand the logic. If I die, well, then so be it. Fuck it. But that was the bet I made when I found Hex. I'm either going to be a billionaire at the end of the 15 years or I'm not. I had no interest in the in between. That wasn't my aim. And I've explained that a billion times. Now, we've been fortunate enough to be blessed with Hedron, Icosa, and all these other protocols that allow people to be liquid or experience some short-term gratification. Salute to the creators in them. But at the end of the day, Hex is the king for this very question. Because I guarantee you, 90% of the people that minted that maxi are not going to fucking hold on to that shit to the duration, period. Doesn't matter what staking length you're talking about. Doesn't matter. Could be 1 year, could be 15 years. They're not holding that liquid bag. End discussion. Humans aren't built for that. So you can put your money on that. It's that simple. This is why I understand markets. This is why I be ahead of the game by a year at best. It's not because I'm some type of savant. It's just how markets work, it's how people operate. It's just wash, rinse, repeat. I've been staring at these things for over a decade. You would hope I'd figured it out by now. If not, be some serious problems. But it's that easy, right? A lot of guys, you hear them talking on stream and they tell you, last bear market this, last bear market that. And that's how we learn. This is what it's about. This is why I rail so hard when you have people giving their opinion and not sticking to the facts. Nobody watching anything needs an opinion. You guys don't need my motherfucking opinion. And when I give it to you, you're going to know. What you're going to get is objective, verifiable information. Because that's what you need. You don't need me to massage your fucking ego. I'm not here for that. That's what you got parents for. That ain't me. And if your parents didn't do that, well, I'm sorry, they failed you. But that's not my fucking job. It's nobody's job, actually. And this is why I don't fucking do good in groups, because I understand that. Most people don't. So, if you're one of those people, then, fuck off. Because at the end of the day, your choices determine your outcomes, not anybody else's. And this is why staking, that locking mechanism, sets everything apart. Everything. It's why we don't lose. It's why we can't lose. Anybody that uses the HEX protocol correctly can only win. Because now we've gotten to a point where the entire fake crypto space has learned what has been foretold long ago. No fucking choice. Now, when I first said it, people thought I was playing. People try to tell me there's no way, there's room for others and blah, 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 all this hunky-dory kumbaya bullshit. And it's like I said back then, sure, there could be others, but how many are real crypto? How many are real crypto outside of HEX and the HEX ecosystem, of course? Because this is what you need to do. You need to answer that question. If you're not answering that question, then what are you doing besides wasting your money and giving it away? What are you doing? Right? I mean, my stream should help you be more reflective, should help you assess your actions more. It should help you make changes in your process if you need to. I've been at this game for a long time. And if there's one thing that doesn't stay the same, it's your process. And the reason for that is because you change as a person. There's things that impact you and the way you view the world over time. It took me a while to figure out that you got to buy and hold to get wealthy, right? Not to just get money. Because we're not talking about getting money. And I think that this is the one thing that people can get confused about when they hear me talking. I'm not here to help you get rich. I'm not here to help you do anything. I'm here to give you the information you need to do what you want to do. Because the definition of these words are not absolute. And I'll tell you guys what. If there's one thing I've learned from life, is that nothing is absolute. You know, wrong is relative, right is relative, good is relative, bad is relative. Everything that you think of in one way, somebody thinks of it in another way. Think about that, guys. That's a reality that we got to contend with. As you guys might know, I go back into the office nowadays to work. And now everybody has met me physically. It's been a few years since I've been in an office. So it's like I'm brand new and shit, even though I'm not. When I sit there and talk with others, there's points in time where I'm speaking so clearly, they don't understand what I'm saying because they're used to hearing rambling and a whole bunch of fluff. And I don't speak that way. So when I speak, people expect a continuation of whatever was being said. And if you guys have heard me giving people my short answers, like when I streamed with Kindness Crypto, I think is his name, I kept my answers really succinct and short, simple, because his objective was not mine. He was interviewing me to get me to answer his questions. He didn't want me to be not 100% explicit about every iota of a detail of everything that I'm thinking and saying. Because that was to get you guys prepared and understanding, right? Up to a level of understanding where it made sense if you were paying attention, right? Because at the end of the day, the information doesn't change. The conduits of the information, however, they do. All these things I'm telling you been relayed by Benjamin Graham. Uh, what's the other guy's name? Benjamin Graham, David Dodd, Warren Buffett, Charlie Munger, Stanley Miller, Michael Marcus, Rich Dad Robert Kiyosaki, Tony Robbins. I mean, Jim Rogers. I could name an infinite list of people that are not telling you anything that I'm not saying here. Richard Hart. I don't know. I mean, Thomas Sowell. I mean, we can go on forever and ever. You guys heard the song. I don't got to name you the list of all the Hexaco, right? Kareem, everybody. Everybody, literally. Right? When I talk, I'm talking about creating generational wealth. You know, if you want to talk about speculation and making money on the interim, we can talk about that too. Let me know. But that's not my objective with Hex. There's no need for that. Because what comes with that is a double-edged sword. And a lot of people are not going to be ready to handle that. Everybody can't take a loss. Everybody can't take a loss. And when you're speculating, you're going to be taking losses. You got to know how to manage risk. You got to find the most efficient way to make it make sense to you. And that takes time. That takes money. Now, the way I see it is as follows. Now, this is just my opinion. No, I just let you know I'm about to share my opinion. If you want to speculate, all fine and well. However, I never ever will advise you speculate in crypto unless you know how to read code or can confirm a good contract from a bad one. Because if you guys don't know, there's an infinite number of contracts being launched daily. It's an onslaught of scams out there in the crypto sphere because nobody knows what crypto is. And this is why we don't talk about other coins and all that other stuff that we do. We don't do it because it leads to failure. It leads to people trying to find what they couldn't find. What are we trying to find? I mean, we're trying to find gains, right? But if you're looking in the wrong place, you're going to burn your money instead. And this is the thing that's really not really, it just doesn't make sense to people. Because we're taught to think that in order to make money, we got to be doing stuff. There's got to be some friction of some sort. And that's ultimately the best way to put it in layman terms. There's got to be some energy being created or something or spent somewhere. And, man, that's just not the case. In fact, if you look at the wealthiest families in the world, they don't risk any capital. They only put money in basically sure things. And you better believe that they're getting deals in all the sure things. Because don't think that the powers that be aren't going to make sure they're the sure things. So, it's just again another way to be tied in to the system, of course. But it's important that you understand that, right? Uh, because at the end of the day, only you can determine what your objective is and how you want to approach it. So, things for you guys to think about, right? I kind of laid out a very solid case for why you need to be putting in your own work for this past whole hour. Because at the end of the day, I've never told you guys what to do. I've told you guys how to look at things and what to take into account, what matters and what doesn't. Because at the end of the day, only you can determine your stake length. Only you can even determine if you're going to buy Hex or stake it or anything. All I can give you are the pros and cons. Anybody telling you otherwise is lying to you. Period. I done shown you the math. I done shown you the proofs. I done shown you everything you need. Speaking of math, eventually I'll be dropping some new charts. Working on some stuff. You guys will be happy when it drops because it's gonna be some cool shit. But yeah, besides all that though, it's important we understand what we are doing when we are doing it, right? And that takes us to this. What was the deal with the Icosa bug? So from what I can ascertain, the integer type was bigger than it should have been. And what that means is that it'll cause the code to run a little differently, store memory a little differently. I don't really know how memory works for Solidity. I'm not there yet. I'm only at Python right now, so I can't really speak to what the ramifications could be. But in Python, I don't think it would be that big of a deal, depending on what the linkages are to the code block. But as far as here in Solidity, I just can't speak to. According to Alex and the dev team over there, it's no impact, which makes sense to me as far as how things are running and operating, because the bug was just not allotting certain calculation, a certain accounting amount to addresses that it should have been allotting. So from a functional perspective, nothing is wrong. So all is well. From an allocation perspective, though, I guess some people got shorted a little bit, but you know, it comes with the territory, right? That's part of the game we play. I didn't look at the code hard enough at the beginning to understand that, so I didn't catch anything like that. I wasn't even looking for stuff like that, and I didn't write it right, so I wouldn't even think to look for anything like that. So, it's again why you guys. Well, I tell you guys, you really got to know, because if you don't know, somebody else is gonna tell you. And if their answer isn't right, well, you're not going to really know. Somebody else might tell you, but again, you're relying on somebody else. So again, this is why you got to take the time to really put in that work, whether you want to or not. You just have to. There's no way around it. So, yep, and it's always going to. This is why I only really, I only speak about Hex. I don't speak about nothing else. I don't care about anything else. If it's not underlying Hex, then it's irrelevant. Hex is the bedrock, period. So these are the things we got to understand. Yeah, yeah. I mean, and this is why even when I first started talking about Hex publicly in a stream sense, I made it clear, you know, everybody needs to be looking at this from a long-term perspective. Just because you got people getting rich in 2 years don't mean dick. Do you want to be rich now, or do you want to be freaking ridiculously filthy and not have to think about it later? That's the way I view it. And I opt for the latter, but that's just me. That's just what I like. That's my goal. The answer is yes, I am. We got to catch up to the 21st century, sir. And I have been asleep at the wheel in that regard. And it's finally, I'm going to be honest with you guys. Let me keep it 100. I've been trying to learn Python. Not really trying. I've really been bullshitting. I haven't learned the code ever, really, because I just had no desire to. There was really no incentive for me to. No motivation. I didn't have that battery in my back to cause me to learn. Now, when all this lockdown shit happened, my goal was to never go back to an office, and I failed at that goal. Right, but it's okay because I failed because I got carried away in other areas, which is fine because it ended up being Hex. Hex really took me off what had set out to do in a lot of ways. But it's okay because it worked out, right? So then once I got that call back to the office, I was like, holy shit. I forgot. I had forgotten that I had no intention of going back. But I never thought that they were going to actually call us back. And then that ruling dropped. And then that email came in. Right? So it was this whole step, all these series of steps, of successive steps of fucking things that happened that put that battery in my back. Because unlike a lot of people, I got a lot of responsibilities. I got to work. I can't just rely on investments and trading money like that just yet. So, and on back of that, I thought to myself, here I am. I find myself failing at a mission once again that I didn't think I was going to fail at. But I only failed because I got carried away doing other things and learning other things. So it's not like it was even a wash, right? So it wasn't a wash, right? Now this is a real life assessment of something you could consider a failure in a lot of ways, right? But if you understand what your end goal is, right, you can realize that there is no failure there in my scenario per se, and that's everything, right? Because we don't want to be doing things that are taking us off of our path and not yielding a benefit. I got more than I could have ever dreamed of over the past couple years by doing the things that I decided to do, even though I'm stuck going back to the office, right? Because now I have a whole nother perspective. I'm completely more mature now than I was when I left that environment 2 years ago. I know exactly where I'm going, right? All those people in that office setting, that's where they're going to be next year. I know I'm not going to be there next year. So, and it's already November. So I don't got that much 2022 left. So I know my time is short because that's my goal. That's what I'm going to do. I already did this crypto thing. Or, there's nothing else for me to do over here. You want expert analysis, you know where to go. Pretty simple. So I need to focus on myself, take care of what I got to take care of, right? And that involves tooling up, right? Stepping up my game. And in 21st century, there really isn't anybody that shouldn't know at least one programming language. And that's just, yeah, that's what it was. The bug is just about the yield bonus calculation. So it wasn't anything crazy. Appreciate you, man. I appreciate all you guys for coming through, of course. Because while I do talk a big game, right, it is with the full understanding that without the viewership, I'd be talking to myself, right? But this is why I say the things that I say. It's important you guys understand that the information I'm relaying, a million different people could relate. But this is why it's important you guys realize those million people are choosing not to. Now, that isn't to speak ill on them. That's for you to focus on where you should be getting your information from, right? Because you don't want to be receiving information from invalid sources. And this is at the end of the day what we've discovered 99% of that fake crypto realm is. And they have a pinned message in the Telegram and the Acosa Telegram chat. So definitely hit that up for a detailed explanation. Um, as I told you guys, I don't think it's a big concern because it's just really about memory space. And if they did rectify it and the explanation makes sense to me, the amendment of the code is now just such that the allocations are going to be made on the bonus calc, based on the bonus calc, right? So nothing as far as the functionality of the code was ever at risk, basically. So let's see what if you guys got questions, lump them in here. That's what I'm looking for right now. Let's see. And ask good questions. Don't ask me about bullshit, please. Thank you. What up, homies? Oh yeah, and this reminds me. Now that I'm smoking and streaming, a big LOL for all the people that were talking shit to me while I was lighting up and educating people. Clearly, the ones with the misguided focus was not me. So hope you schmucks didn't have any money on exchanges. Hilarious. Yeah, I mean, what do you think? I mean, what do you see happening in the market? I mean, we're sitting at a point in time, right? And this is kind of crazy because I don't really think, people be in such a rush for things to happen, not understanding when opportunity is staring them in the face. And this is basically the crux of that statement, right? We're at a point in time where you can get 30 hex for a buck. 30 hex for a buck. Okay. Right now, you can get 30 hex for a buck. Now let's prove it. Actually, you know what? Let's get fancy with it. Let's get fancy. Give me a second, guys. Give me a second. Let's get fancy. Where's this damn fucking? There we go. All right. $4 in the year, right? Let me share the screen again. All right. $4 in the year is your question. Right now, Hex costs 3.3 cents. Right. Let's just say 1 divided by A. Okay. Is B. That's how many hex you can get right now. Hold on, because you guys can't see this shit. All right, well, this is annoying as F. You can get 30 hex right now for $1. Okay. I think that's what your concern should be, not where price is going to go. Just something for you to consider. I'm not telling you what to do. Yeah, like I told you guys earlier, right? It's going to be interesting to see what happens here because everybody can see the clear connections that exist in this story. Everybody. I mean, if you can't see it, shit, somebody's gonna show it to you. Don't worry, because it's that obvious. I don't even got to do it. I don't even got to do it. It's all over Twitter. Twitter replaces me now. It's okay. Yo, Hex was the best thing that ever happened to me personally. So it's all good. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, it's like I said a million times. You guys should really learn the rules. You guys really need to learn law of the land. There's not much else that can be said about that. Yeah, I think I'm doing. Which one am I doing right now? I think I'm doing Code Camp, Free Code Camp. I think I'm gonna do Code Academy next. If I didn't do that one already, there's a bunch out there. Just do them all. If you're trying to learn, do them all. Because the only way to learn how to code is by understanding the process of coding. There's no like it's not like slicing bread. Well, hell, that's a lie. I mean, it's just a million ways to do everything, and this is why you just got to know, right? The way one person sees something is not going to be the way somebody else sees it, and that applies to coding stuff too. I mean, everything is the same, no matter what you do. And my pleasure, man. Yeah, man. Programming is key. It really, really is. And I've been trying to really, focus and work on it. And I've been unsuccessful because I've been focused on other things. And now that I've accomplished those other things, I'm ready, basically mentally ready. Wait, what? Can I do a golden mic all along? I don't know that song, but I think I'm gonna be on Hex Asians Monday. I'll see if D can do it if you can show up to that. And thanks for the super chat, Hex.LIVE. Appreciate you, bro. Oh man. Thank you, man. Appreciate you being a long-term viewer. Because again, just really trying to help people see what they need to see. I mean, It's like when price, like when this day happened. I didn't even know it happened until somebody told me. Because what happened is what we always said would happen. And that's what's going to happen every time price even gets near 2 cents. Because you got to understand the market. The makeup of the folks in Hexaco in general, they're pretty astute investors. Because, the new people are worried about. Now, this is funny, and if you're new, please be offended by this because this is the stuff that your cohort are running around out here saying. And by new, I mean anybody that came in 2022 has been eating crow the whole time. The from what my perception is, and please excuse me while I take a sip of water because when I'm by myself, it's a motherfucker. The from my understanding, from my perception, the notion is that you got a lot of OGs dumping on people. Now, when I hear this, I automatically think that they're talking about public Hexicans, streamers, people that are on Twitter showing off what they're buying and shit to motivate others to get into Hex, right? I'm not even talking about outrage marketing like RH. I'm just talking about the Hex Flex stuff, because this is where a lot of the hate started. Because it started all the way back then, 2021. People fucking showing off and shit. And people not understanding the reasoning behind the showing off. As I alluded to earlier, which was to motivate others. And I've had this conversation before with people about, do you educate some or entice others, or do you educate all and entice all? Like, how does it work, right? How do we onboard the world to crypto? And the fact is that there's no one answer for that question. And I think if you've been around as long as any of the Hexicans, and I mean just a couple years, right? Not even that long, because I was not the person onboarding anybody prior to Hex into crypto. Period. I was not. I really didn't have the confidence to do so because I understood what was going on, right? So until Hex came along, there was no way in hell I could do that with a good conscience because when it comes to money, man, you got to have a fucking conscience. You got to have some integrity. If you don't, I'm going to let you know about it. Don't worry about that shit. I'm going to say what I got to say because everything I say and do, as you guys have seen and come to learn, is predicated on fact, not fiction. And that shit is imperative when it comes to your pocket. Because that's why everybody else is getting smoked and we're just here watching, chilling, getting paid, earning yield. I mean, it's a beautiful thing, guys. We're fortunate to be able to be involved in a good protocol, a good piece of software that does what it's supposed to do, when it's supposed to do it, how it's supposed to do it. You know, the value in that is unfounded. And I've been saying this for a long time, and I'm going to continue to say it because there is nothing else to say. And the funny thing is that I see people talking crap about, Hex streamers and what else are they going to say? Well, yeah, you dumb motherfucker, nothing else because your stupid ass isn't learning. Your dumb ass is still out there chasing shiny objects that don't pay the bills instead of taking advantage of opportunity when it presents itself. I mean, this is the kind of crap you see on social media. I mean, real life commentary. Price has been going sideways for 5 months, and people are complaining instead of taking advantage of the ability to buy Hex between 3 and 4 cents. I mean, if you're new and you haven't watched my first live stream, you need to. That's like the Bible of crypto. Period. Not Hex. Crypto. Period. And that's not me patting myself in the back. That shit is legit information in there. Again, you guys need to watch, need to learn, need to understand what you are doing. Because it's so easy to just click buy. It's so easy to just click sell. Do not dismiss that ease. That low barrier to entry makes it easy to step into a landmine, folks. This is why I have no qualms talking about Hex. None whatsoever. I understand it's a software protocol that does what it's supposed to do day in, day out. Nothing further. I don't know what else you can attribute to it because that's literally it. And once the world discovers this, you're going to be mad you don't have enough. That's a fact. So you guys got to understand, as the world progresses, things are going to change. And what doesn't exist now will exist in the future. There is what is this thing called? True USD. There's these stable coins that act like escrow functions. That has an escrow functionality where you're burning when you're getting rid of fiat and you're minting when you're acquiring the fiat. So like there's all these different types of ways to on and off ramp. You just gotta do your homework. You know, these tools are out there. These tools are out there, and you gotta be on the lookout because this is crypto. Everything is new every day over here. Everything is changing. So there's always gonna be new stuff coming out, and you just gotta keep your eyes open, eyes peeled, because before you know it, we're not gonna need banks to on and off ramp. It's gonna happen. You can bet your bottom dollar on that. Because yeah, this is the one I was talking about. Trust token. Yep, that's the one. You guys need to look into that. Let me see if I can find the website and put it in the link. Yep. Of course, if you live in one of those states that doesn't allow crypto, you're screwed, like me. So you got to have a real address, an address outside of that scenario that you can use. And don't forget to use a VPN. Yeah, it's important. Hold on, let me see here so I can give you guys this link. Boom. But yeah, exactly. Yes, this is what people need to be doing. Because that t-shirt already gone. I didn't even stream when it crossed 25,000 for what? If you don't get it by now, well, shit, I can't help you understand. You know, there's nothing I can do. There's nothing I can do. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, that was Jupiter for those that don't know. Yeah, downloading anacondas and all that. But yeah, yeah, I don't know, man. I don't care. You know, I'm not really relying on a documentary. You know, we got to understand the bigger picture. The documentary would be a big piece in the puzzle of raising the awareness of Hex. However, we don't know the contents of the documentary. We don't know when it's going to be released. We don't know anything. So we can't really rely on any of that. You know, as far as that goes, like we just got to understand that Hex is the best thing out there. That's what you need to bank on, not anything else. Everything else is really irrelevant. Because once people understand that Hex is the best, it's gonna be like owning fucking Apple and Google. You're not gonna have enough. Like you guys need to understand that. Period. Like understand that. Microsoft, IBM, 1980s, like the Tetradyne or whatever in the fucking 60s. Like, do your homework, man. You guys need to do your homework. You know, stop waiting on catalysts. You need to be taking advantage of opportunities and hoping the catalysts don't come sooner rather than later. Because unless you're a fucking millionaire, You're not gonna become one once those catalysts hit. Pro tip: you better learn how to do some math. I do not know. Can't help you. Don't know. All I know is doesn't really matter. So irrelevant. I actually have not used one. Plan to get one eventually though. It'll happen one day. Just no incentive to do so just yet. Dun-dun-dun. For sure. For sure. Yes, it is all just logic. But, that shit is not easy for people. Yes, it is true. I wish. I don't think so. I mean, you better get a bid in for 2 cents, right? I mean, how else do you intend to get that many hex for a buck? That's about it. You got to put in that limit order. I mean, we already saw 2.5 cents, right? So you got to just put in that limit order, man, and hope, you get hit. Because here's the thing. You got to understand this is software. The chart does not necessarily have to hit 2.5 cents for you to get that fill. Now, I don't talk about that often, but I'm not going to talk about it again. So, yeah, these are the kinds of things you got to understand about crypto, man. You got to really think about what you're engaging in. It's critical. It's really, really critical. Um, it's easy once you realize what it is, right? Yeah, it's kind of hard to unthink like that, right? But yeah, you guys got to realize that the reason why you want to think in hex terms is because hex is a multiplier. The dollar only goes in one direction. You're always gonna have less dollars over time. Period. By default, that's the way the system is designed. The structure, to function. Period. This is why investing exists. I mean, the first rule of finance is that a dollar today is worth less tomorrow. So over time, you will always have less in dollar terms. So you need to learn to think in hex terms because hex is a multiplier. If you have 100,000 hex, you stake that hex, you're gonna eventually have more than 100,000 hex. So you're increasing your multiplying power, your multiplying capacity, your multiplying effect. With US dollars, you got to put in more work for that. You're not increasing any capacity by just having dollars. And even if you are going to be dumb enough to put money in T-bills for 4%, that's a year, not in a month. So good luck with that. Right? Like what are you doing with that? Why would you give a high risk entity money at 4%? Like if you don't understand the system, and we'll get there one day, at least on this stream, this channel, you're gonna pay the price. So these are things you gotta really, if you don't understand them, you better learn or start figuring them out because the market is not gonna care that you don't if it fails or succeeds. Right? And I'm speaking in general terms here because the market, whether I'm talking about hex or a stock market, it's gonna do what it's gonna do, and you gotta understand that. Just like we've been going sideways for 3 months, 5 months. I mean, everybody's expecting for this to keep going lower. I don't know why, but whatever. Don't wait. Be methodical. Have a order set aside for 2 cents if you really believe it's going there. But don't not buy at 3. Like, why would you do that? What if it never sees 2? You're just not gonna buy. You're just gonna let that opportunity pass you by. Crazy. My pleasure, Bob. I appreciate you, man. I'm glad you learned because at the end of the day, this is going to change your life because you decided to make that effort, put in that effort, put in that work. And that's what it's about. It's about knowing what you want to do for you. All right, let's see. Yep, this is true. And that day will come. In the early days of crypto, folks denominated their crypto in BTC rather than USD. Would be wild if one day we denominate in hex. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I think that day is coming. You guys gotta understand what's happening. It happens slowly, but you gotta understand it's happening. While all fake crypto crumbles, hex is just there. Nothing doing. It's just humming along. Bzzz, doing what it does. Nothing is going to stop this freight train. When something is made to work and it does, that's pretty much just it. Thank you, Tabo. Appreciate that. I've been a fan for at least 2 years. I appreciate your time, just like you appreciate my time, and that works well for all along us. Yep, for all of us. Yes, it does. Because again, it's about finding your path. Nobody can tell it to you, but you can find it, knowing what paths are out there. Until I knew I could do all the things I'm doing now, I didn't do them. One day I just said F it and I decided to do them, and that's it. And here's a factoid, right? 16,000 hex per t-shirt not long ago. Now we're at 25,000. That was around the time I entered, or right after the big payday, that it jumped up to that high. December time frame, I think it was December 2020. So, you know, it's funny because when you say it out loud, it's only 9,000 hex difference from then to today, and it took almost 2 years to achieve that difference. But what if hex didn't dip 95%? Then what? It's easy to say now that it did, but what if it didn't? That's why understanding that t-shirt rate is imperative. You get left behind when you don't, because multiply 9,000 by any number and it's going to be a pretty decent change, right? And these are the things we got to think about. Yep, I saw that. Yeah, somebody told me about it at nighttime. It was some crazy order, and somebody got a crazy good fill. So shout out to them, because that was like a 3.5, almost 4 million hex fill. I mean, that was amazing, right? For that individual, they crushed it with that trade. So that's what's up. And for those that don't understand, that individual with the million or 3+ million hex buy and 3+ million hex, right? So it was like $118,000 or something like that, if I remember correctly, was the USD figure. But in hex terms, they crushed it. They got like 3.5 million hex. So not a bad deal as far as I'm concerned. So you guys understand the notion of generating wealth is by having patience. You know, uh and then the funny thing is that even when it comes to trading, you should have patience. You have to be patiently aggressive, or aggressively patient, because you have to sit there until you're ready to like, you got to be a sniper. There's no other way to put it. You have to be willing to sit there for as long as it takes and hold on for as long as it takes until it's the right time to strike. Timing, unfortunately, is everything in a lot of ways. And this is why hex is so crucial, right? It really does remove that nexus of life, of a fact of life that we all are confronted with from time to time. And that being that timing is everything, right? When it comes to hex, it doesn't have to be, but it just depends on how long you staked it for. That's the catch. Well, I appreciate that you find my explanations simple, brother. I appreciate that because I try to make them simple. Sometimes it doesn't work out though. Yeah. Great comment, Crypto Cashew. Love it. No one said the free copy on Chain was going to be easy. That's it. And yes, do indeed keep up the good work because becoming a billionaire, millionaire, whatever your goal is for attaining generational wealth for your family, to achieve that goal is not easy. Some of us get an early start in life, Carlos Slim. Some of us get a late start in life, Ray Kroc. The question is, how are you going to address it? Are you going to be like Carlos Slim or Ray Kroc and grab the bull by the horns, or are you going to let somebody else do it for you and then blame them when they fail? That's what you guys got to think about. Because at the end of the day, a lot of folks would have probably sold at 50 Cent back in the day if it wouldn't have been for Pulse Chain coming out. Right? Probably. I mean, look, I was up there around that time. I might have sold something, but I'm locked in. I really had no desire nor intention to at that point, because for me, this was always a long-term deal. All of them, no matter where they're at, they're all locked in long-term. So, question is, what's your goal? Now, a lot of people did buy at the time for a quick copy. That's one of the main reasons Hex pumped and then dumped, for sure. I mean, that's obvious, right? Because that Hex wasn't staked. They got sold off. I mean, that's literally what we got on this chart. So that's a no-brainer, right? People short-termism will always get them. That's all this chart shows. Straightforward. And this is why you stake for the long haul. People that are staked for 5 years or more, they're not sweating no freaking bear cycle. They got another bull cycle to worry about. And then probably another one after that. So these are the things you gotta think about. This is the advantage of playing the long game. When you're playing the long game, you don't have to worry about short-term fluctuations. Right? So these are Hex is a yield. It's a you mint your own yield here. Right? It's like planting a seed. There is no profit from the work of others here. You determine how long you're going to be staked for. I mean, even how you determine even your yield, even how your yield is determined, shows there's no work of others here, because there's no schedule that's laid out before you. There's just a range of days, and that range is 5,555 days, and you can pick either one day or all the days. It's entirely up to you. And you can pick none of the days. You could just be a liquid bag holder. That's completely okay. Now, that's what I'm talking about. Boom. That's how you know it's a good Sunday, baby. But, think about that, guys. We all want success. How do we achieve it? That's the question. How do we achieve that success? I mean, we all want it. Are we willing to do what needs to be done for it, though? Yeah, there's a reason I haven't streamed in a while. It's a lot to do. Not that much to talk about. I mean, a lot of what I'm saying is just me rehashing old stuff. And as you guys know, please don't share, don't type, don't screenshot your seed phrases and private keys and all of that. Don't do any of that. Don't click on no links, no random links, none of that. Understand what you own. You know, please read the abstract of the Bitcoin white paper. You don't even need to read more than that. Like, that's what you need to know, that first line. If there's people in the mix of your crypto, then that ain't crypto. That's fake. It's fugazi. Turn around. Back away. Step away from the vehicle. It's not what you want. You know, it's nothing but problems there. Get away from that. That's the crux of everything I'm talking about. It's the crux of everything Richard is talking about. It's why crypto was invented. It's to get rid of the middleman in terms of storing your value, right? And RH explained why tools like Tornado Cash are necessary, right? And if you missed it, let me give you the gist. When you conduct a transaction, you know, Burger King should know that you're rich as F, right? Why do they have to know that? You should be able to conduct any transaction any which way you desire. It's your money. You worked for it. However you earned it is nobody's business. And I explain this to my colleagues at work all the time. And we fucking conduct KYC AML, folks. I let them understand. I explain to them that what we do is a legit breach of the First and Fourth Amendment. So I explain to them how they need to do it. Because it's important that we do these things the right way. Because guess what? If there's blowback, it's never on your boss. It's on you. That's how Wall Street works. This is why you gotta know the rules. This is why what other people say doesn't matter. Because at the end of the day, you pay the freight. Nobody else. So you guys have a good rest of your Sunday. Thank you for taking the time out to hear me out today. Hope you guys got something from it. And I hope to see you guys at the next one. Peace. Right? The reality is that I want to be rich as fuck. There's only one way to be rich as fuck. That's by sitting on your ass the longest. Yep. That's it. Yep. That's the secret. The Godwell told you. Richard done told you. I done told you. Kareem done told you. Maddie done told you. Everybody done told you. Everybody done told you. Shit, motherfuckers still acting like they don't know. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
100% safe. There's plenty of games left.
Valiant done told you. Yo, everybody said it. Man, hey, you know what it is, man? Everybody done told you. Y'all deep, everybody.